You know when you open up your mix session and you see this message? So that's exactly what happened to me yesterday. The day before, I was working remotely and I had my key with me. So I probably forgot to pack it up when it was time for me to leave. And when I opened up my session, I realized that I was missing that major key, you know? Now the thing with the iLok key, if you're not familiar with this key, it holds like a bunch of plugin and VSTI's licenses. If I don't have that key, I cannot work with those plugins or virtual instruments. Next time what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use something like this to hang out my iLok key. So it's gonna be a bit harder to forget, you know, or lose. Now this is something you definitely don't want to lose. Let's get back to the studio. Now for today's video, I had a question that goes like this. Would you mind doing a video on how to clarify a mix using the stock cubase tools and still keep the warm, low-end sound of a song? So I'm going to show you a very simple way to clarify your mix and add definition to your mixes in Cubase and any other DAW. But first, if you're new here on this channel, subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss anything. And guys, don't forget to like and to share this video. Let's go in Cubase. So I'm gonna have you listen to a mix I worked on. The song is called Home. It's from an artist called Joseph Poirier. So let's have a quick listen.
This little boy was running, he was running faster, trying to find his way into...
Okay, so now I think the song could benefit of a bit more clarity, okay? So I'm gonna try to add a bit more definition to the mix. So the very simple thing I do most of the time as a starting point is to add an EQ on my stereo bus. So let's look at what I have here on my mix template, okay? Now, at the end of my mixer, I have some instrument groups, okay? I have like a bus for my drums, the bass, all of my guitars, keyboards, and vocals, okay? All of those are going into the stereo out, which is a separate group. And then that group goes into the master bus, okay? Where I only have reference plugins on the master bus, okay? So I use the stereo out bus to process my mix, okay? So if you want to know more about my mix template, I have a free ebook and video training available for you to download, and the link is going to be right on top. Now I'm going to start with the stereo bus. I'm just going to use the basic EQ out of Cubase as an insert, the Studio EQ. You can use any equalizer that you want. So if you're not using Cubase, you're using Logic, Pro Tools, Studio One, you know, just use the stock plugins or any plugins that you wish to use. Okay, so it's very simple. What I do, I look at the low mid frequencies. My first reflex could be to boost a bit of the top end of the spectrum. But first, you know, before doing so, if I need to anyways, I'm going to start working on the low mid section, okay? And now I'm talking about 250 hertz to 500 or 550 hertz, okay? So I'm going to start around 500.
This little boy was running, he was running faster, trying to find his way into the darkest places. But this world is full of beautiful oases, and I can only imagine.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. I'm just going to bring the Q down so I can affect a bit more frequencies.
This little boy was running, he was running faster, trying to find his way into the darkest places. But this world is full of beautiful oases, and I can only imagine where he is tonight. and I
Okay, there's a significant change here, okay? You can tell that it sounds way more clearer, maybe a bit too much, okay? This is, this is part of mixing, it's a trial and error, okay? You try stuff, and if it doesn't work, you just go back a step. What I can do here is just gonna bring back my cue. I'm just gonna bring it back a bit and see how that goes.
This little boy was running, he was running faster, trying to find his way into the darkest places. But this world is full of beautiful oases, and I can only
Try to listen to this video on good speakers or a good pair of headphones if you want to notice the difference, okay? So this is basically a starting point to do if you want to clear up your mix or add definition to your mix. By cleaning these frequencies out, you're going to be able to add a bit more clarity to your mix without having to boost the top end, and by keeping the low end intact, okay? So this is a very cool trick that you can use on your mixes. Now you need to be careful with this, because the more you cut out of these frequencies, the more thin your mix is going to sound, okay? So you need to be gentle with this. Just make sure you don't cut too much, and if that doesn't work, try something else. Go down from this point. Maybe the entire mix doesn't need to be cleaned out on these frequencies, okay? Maybe it's only the drums, or maybe only the guitars or the keyboards. That's why I'm using this type of mix template, okay? Where I can have access to all these separate instrument groups, okay? So let's say, for example, I didn't want to touch my vocal. I could have just take the same type of EQ and apply it on the guitar bus, the synth bus, and the bass bus, okay? And this way, all the music is going to be affected by this type of EQ cut and not the vocal, okay? So this is something that can be done as well. But I'm always going to start by the my stereo bus and then go down from that point if that doesn't work. So this is pretty much it for today. I hope that helps. If so, like and share, and subscribe to this channel if you're new here. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.